Hi and welcome to the latest live session. Thank you for all of you that are joining. Tonight's session is going to be a little bit different to normal. I normally sit here and waffle on about all things mortgages and property, and as it's the anniversary of the business, I thought I would do something a little bit different and give a little bit back in terms of sharing my story over the last 12 months of business, and a little bit behind the scenes about me and my personal life. Not because I particularly think I'm that interesting, but more so because I've gained a lot of new followers over the last 12 months, and even more so in the last 3 months. So I just wanted to tell you all a little bit more about me, because from a personal perspective, I always like to know who I'm dealing with, the person I'm dealing with, and if I like the person, then I'm more than likely going to want to know more about them. And I think for me, I just wanted to share a little bit more, give a bit back in terms of myself and my personal life. So I did and ah about it. I'm not entirely sure whether it's the best idea to kind of let you in. I might regret it. I might lose a few followers, but I thought, you know what? That's what I want to do. You know, I want to share the journey so far and let you know about the highs and the lows. You guys are what have got me to where I am now, and made the business so successful over the last 12 months. So a lot of people ask me these questions on a day-to-day basis. So I thought, why not do a live session, something a little bit different to boring old mortgages and property. And so here we are. So firstly, welcome to all the new followers and viewers and those of you that tune into these live sessions every single week. It's been amazing. I'm now sort of averaging around about 3,000 to 4,000 views of the videos that I put out on replay. So thank you so much for all your support. A little bit about me and the business so far. And before I go on to the business, I just want to take a step back and tell you a little bit more about my journey and how I come to get involved with the business and the mortgage industry, because I think that's all relevant. And then we'll talk a little bit about the business, how it launched, and the highs and lows and the roller coaster that it's been over the last 12 months. So those of you that followed me from the beginning, you'll know a lot of this. So apologies if you're hearing it all again. But for those of you that don't know, I am the business owner. I'm a father of 3. I've got 3 beautiful children. I've got Alfie, who's 9, Bertie, who's 5, and Winnie, who is about 19 months. And my lovely partner, Sam, as well. We live in Brackley. I grew up in Bicester, went to school in Bicester. Most of my friends and family and my connections are in Bicester. But around about 4.5 years ago, after a few of our friends moved out to Brackley, Sam and I decided to do the same, and we bought a new build property on the new build estate in Brackley, and it's quite a nice community because a few of our other friends were also here as well, and I'll be honest, I absolutely fallen in love with the place. It reminds me of all the things I loved about Bicester before kind of it got, a lot of the independent shut down, and it become very pedestrianised. Brackley still has lots of independence. It has kind of your butchers and your florists and your laundrettes and bakery and family run businesses, and a lot of big towns as they're growing, that's dying, and I love the fact that Brackley's still got that. It's just got a real lovely community feel about the town. They do fetes and festivals and a great beer festival. For those of you that haven't been to Brackley Beer Festival, you should. It's phenomenal when it's not raining. Fireworks events, and just everything about the town I absolutely love. And I still love Bicester. That's where I'm from, and that will still remain in my heart forever. But I also love Brackley as well. And we've moved again since we've been here. And yeah, so that's where the new shop has been. And I'd say probably sort of my custom really varies from probably about 50% of my business is from Brackley people themselves, and then probably a good number from my hometown in Bicester, and the rest from surrounding areas, Oxfordshire. Got clients right down in Southampton. Furthest north I've done a couple in Scotland, but basically, given kind of modern technology, I can pretty much deal with customers from all over. But the most people are local to me, which is great because I love helping local people. So a lot of people say, sort of, how did you get into it? You know, you've only been doing mortgages 12 months. No, I've been doing mortgages a lot longer than that, and I just started my own business 12 months ago. So the start of my kind of employee journey was my first proper job was working down Bicester Village. I'm sure most of you local to me will know where Bicester Village is. Love it or hate it. And I worked in a shop called Reebok. So if you come from the era that I come in, you probably owned a pair of Reebok Classics, and I might have even sold them to you. 2 pairs for £35, absolute bargain. Most of Bicester were wearing them back in the day. So I worked there and actually got the job mainly because my brother was assistant manager, and then he took over a store in the Swindon outlet temporarily, and I think he just felt a bit sorry for me, so give me a weekend job. So me and my brother were actually starting off. My first job in Reebok was in the Swindon outlet. We used to travel down there. He was doing it every day, but I was doing it as weekends, normally probably quite hungover as a sort of 17, 18-year-old. And then when that store closed, because it was always temporary, I moved into the Bicester store. So did my brother move back, and I stayed there as weekend, and then ended up going part-time, full-time, got a team leader role there, and then ended up becoming assistant manager, and absolutely loved my time at Bicester Village and Reebok, and we had a great sort of clan there, and some brilliant memories of working there. And lots of pairs of Reebok Classics to boot as well, which was good because we used to get like 50% off once a month, so that was amazing. And then how I kind of got into financial services was one of the people that I worked with, his dad worked for NatWest, and got him a job at NatWest in Oxford, and he basically said to me, look, you're working, we're working evenings, you work bank holidays, you work all over Christmas in retail. I'm sure some of you watching work in retail have done, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're not the most sociable of hours. And he said, look, you need to get a job in banking. You need to do what I've just done. I've moved to NatWest. I work 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, every other Saturday. Get my Saturday afternoons off. I can play football on a Saturday. Sundays off. It's brilliant. So I thought, you know, I think I was 21, 22 by this point. I was thinking that sounds pretty cool. You know, I like the idea of that. So I started putting my CV out to a few recruitment consultants. I was basically trying to find a job just so I didn't have to work unsociable hours, which I'd never recommend you kind of basing your whole career around that, but it actually worked out quite well for me. So I ended up rocking up to an interview at a well-known UK building society on George Street in Oxford, in probably a very ill-fitting suit. Looked like it was probably my dad's, big shoulder pads, baggy trousers, tie hanging off, trying to look smart but probably looked horrendous, and got offered a job as kind of an entry-level building society worker, like a bank worker essentially. So like on the counter, opening up savings accounts, doing some insurances, and it was great. It was a good sort of foot into financial services really. And I ended up being at that building society for about 8 years, and I moved up from kind of cashier to team leader, and then to assistant manager, and then when I left I was actually a branch manager, and that was my first sort of step into financial services essentially. And I was there throughout. When I first started, interest rates were incredibly high, and they sort of came down when I first started there, back in around about 2007, 2008, probably 2007 actually, because I remember quite vividly the 2008 crash, the Northern Rock crash, and there was a Northern Rock in Oxford, and a lot of Northern Rock customers were also customers of our building society, and they were sort of very, very anxious at the time. People were queuing around the block to get their money out. The whole sort of it was a big recession, for those that can remember, and it was all around the banks. So I worked for a building society, which is pretty much a bank, and we were one of the bad guys essentially. So that was a very, very interesting time. People coming in and trying to withdraw their savings because they thought that if Northern Rock had gone under, you're going to go under, and people started spreading their money across all the different building societies. So because you've got a certain amount protected and guaranteed with each society, so people were kind of spreading it across, whereas before a lot of people would just put all their money into one savings account. But the issue with that is that if that bank went under, you lost it all, bar the first 50,000. So people were spreading their money into every single building society to get 50,000 protection from all of them. So that was a really interesting time. And then a couple of years later, that crash sort of really hit hard the building society that I worked for. So they ended up merging with another building society. It was pretty much a takeover, because the building society we merged with was much, much bigger, the second largest in the UK. They basically took over our building society and merged. And as part of that, I needed to undertake what we call the CMAP qualification, which is the qualification that mortgage advisors need to be able to give financial advice for mortgages, insurance and protection in the UK. So I did that as part of this merger, because prior to that I was not giving advice on mortgages, giving information only on mortgages and allowing people to make up their own mind about what they wanted to do. So you used to be able to do that execution only. You can't really do that anymore. So we had to be qualified as mortgage advisors, only selling mortgages for that particular building society, not any other lenders, just that one lender. So I got my qualifications there, paid for by the building society, and was then starting to advise on the building society's mortgage and protection and insurance products, which was great. Did that for a couple of years, then became manager and started supervising mortgage advisors within the branch, as well as all the other managerial stuff. And like I said, I was there for about 8 years. And when I left, the whole housing market and the mortgage market had started to kind of resurge again and make a bit of a comeback from the 2008 crash. So the housing market was getting going again, lenders were starting to lend again, and there was a shortage of mortgage advisors essentially in the industry. So a lot of the branch managers within my network left to become mortgage advisors because there was a shortage of them. So you could get relatives, you get paid quite well, and it was a different type of job, and it was quite an exciting role. So a few of them left and did that. I kept in touch, and they were sort of saying, well, you should think about doing this as well. So similarly to when I got this job, I kind of put my CV out to a few people and got an interview with an independent mortgage broker, because that's what everyone else was doing. It sounded great, could earn a little bit more money for my family. So I went along to an interview for a mortgage brokerage. So they've advised on all types of mortgages, but they specialise in self-build mortgages. So people like renovating barns and building houses, knocking down houses, building them from the ground up, conversions of barns, renovations, huge home improvement projects. I did some really, really cool stuff in part of that role, like conversions of mills, conversions of old warehouses, water mills, all sorts. I did a lot of finance initially in the initial stages at Graven Hill in Bicester. If any of you watched the Grand Designs programme that went out last year, maybe even this year, a little while ago, I financed a lot of those as well. So that was a really interesting role. But sort of going straight into a specialist self-build role was kind of really chucking myself in the deep end. And the company that I worked for, based in Scotland, but covered the whole of the UK. I was working from home. So I went from commuting into Oxford every single day to working from home, which was interesting. I thought I was going to spend the whole day in my pants watching Jeremy Kyle, and soon realised that you don't do that when you work from home. You end up working kind of harder and more hours than you ever did before. So once I got used to the whole home working thing, I really, really enjoyed that job. It was really interesting, and I was there for about 3 years. But I started to really miss working with people and the managerial side of helping people develop, and bringing people on, and motivating people, and having that kind of whole office camaraderie. I think I pronounced that right. That I used to have in the building society, and a job came up in my hometown of Bicester with a local mortgage brokerage, a head of sales job, and it seemed just up my street because I could enable me to continue to do mortgages, which I really enjoyed doing, but also there was a managerial part of that as well, and a relatively small-ish broker. It wasn't a national broker, but a very, very successful one in the local area. So that was a great opportunity, and I went in there as head of sales back in mid 2017, which was great. Did that and really opened my eyes to kind of the day-to-day running of a mortgage brokerage, which has helped me to kind of where I am now. So that was great. That kind of come to a bit of an abrupt end, to be honest, and I won't go into too much because I need to go careful what I say, but essentially, in a nutshell, there was three authorised mortgage advisors there, one of them being me. The other two were female. All of us were having babies at the same time. I wasn't having a baby, my partner was, Sam, but all the space within 3 months of each other. So the two females went off on maternity leave. I went off on paternity leave, and we ended up not working together for about 6 or 7 months or so. Winnie was then born in December, and she, about 10 days old, whilst I was still on paternity leave, she was diagnosed with bronchiolitis, which bronchiolitis in itself can be quite dangerous in babies, but on the whole is normally kind of fine with a bit of antibiotics, you can normally treat it at home. But if it becomes quite serious, you can become hospitalised and need some help with breathing, etc. So unfortunately for Winnie, and at 11 days old, she was hospitalised with it. She had bronchiolitis, and she was in hospital. Sam was spending all of her time caring for her in hospital because obviously she couldn't be there on her own. And then I was kind of between home, looking after my other two children, going up to the hospital, and it was a really tough time for all of us, and over the Christmas period as well. And Winnie ended up being in hospital for about 6 to 8 weeks in the end it was, and we moved from Horton and Banbury over to the JR. We were under specialist care from some respiratory doctors, and she got really quite poorly at times. Some of the people in there, when we first went in there, said, we've been in here 2 weeks with bronchiolitis, and we were like, wow, like, that's insane, that would be horrendous. And actually, we ended up being in there for 8 weeks, and it was a really hard time for all of us, particularly Sam, my partner, Winnie's mum. She spent all of her time up there looking and caring for her. Winnie was on breathing apparatus, needed help breathing, was on all sorts of drugs, having all sorts of checks and procedures, some of them quite serious, and there was talk at times that we had to be told that things could take a turn for the worse and she might not make it if the procedure went wrong. So quite serious stuff, and I'm not here telling you this for you guys to get the violin out, but just to kind of paint the picture about the whole journey that I've been on and how the business come up. So come February time, fast forward, it was time for me to go back to work, and by the time I went back to work, things had changed. I've been out of the business for a while, hadn't worked with a lot of the team for a while, and it was quite clear that the business was going in a different direction, and really I wasn't involved with that any longer. And it come to quite an abrupt end, to be honest. And again, I won't say too much more on that, but to be honest, I found myself without much notice jobless. I was fired basically, when again, I can't go into too much around that, but I ended up being in a position where my daughter had just been released from hospital but required 24 hours oxygen at home. She required physio, antibiotics, constantly in and out of hospital. So although we were out of the hospital, we certainly weren't out the thick of it. And then all of a sudden, on top of that, my income just stopped, and we didn't have any income. We didn't have anything to back us up. We didn't actually know how we were going to pay the bills the next month. I had to quickly think about how I was going to support my family, and look to launch the mortgage brokerage. And that was the start really then of Thomas Honor Mortgage Services. And we're now in sort of around about the end of May time when that all happened. So in May 2019, I found myself out of my arse, for a better phrase, and I had to really kind of look at what I was going to be doing to bring an income in, because we had mortgages to pay, bills to pay. Sam wasn't working because she was the main caregiver for Winnie. She required 24-hour care with her ongoing condition, and she basically was diagnosed with an underlying chronic lung disease. So like I said, she required physio and ongoing oxygen, and it was quite hard work really. So I then began looking at how I could bring some money into the household and how I was going to support my family. And for a long time, I didn't really know how that was going to happen, because I tried to set up the mortgage brokerage as quickly as possible. The reality is that you can't just set up a mortgage business straight away. It isn't that simple. You need to go through lots of checks, lots of due diligence. You need to apply to the regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority. You need to have compliance in order. You need to have all sorts of things, and it can take months and months and months to get the business up and running. The problem I had was that I had no income and bills to pay and a family to support, and it became a really tough time. And to add to that, again, I can't say too much, but my ex-employer tried to veto me setting up my business. They didn't want me trading. They felt that, for whatever reason, they didn't want me trading. So I had a bit of a legal battle on my hands. And at parts, I didn't know whether I was ever going to be able to trade at least for 12 months, because that's what the period they were trying to stop me from trading for, and possibly forever if they kind of had their way. So no income, a poorly child, and no business potentially, and no job for 12 months. So it was tough. And again, I'm not telling you this to get your violins out, so please, I'm not saying this for you to pity me, but just to share my journey with you guys and how I've got to where I am today. So the reality is, at that point, because I didn't know what was going to happen, and not a lot of people know this, I fell into a state of depression. I ended up with the doctors on medication, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. I didn't know what was going to happen at points when we was in the legal battle. It didn't look at stages like I was ever going to be able to get the brokerage off the ground. And that's all I'd done for 11 years, was mortgages and financial services. And I was thinking, I'm going to have to start again. Well, what am I going to do? Like, I am 33. I don't know anything else. I'm not good at anything else. So I was hit a really, really low place. And thankfully, I had family behind me, and Sam and friends around me that supported me through a really bad time. And finally, after a long battle, and applying to get the mortgage brokerage up and running, 6-7 weeks later, I got my license to trade under Thomas Honor Mortgage Services. And that then is really when the tide started to turn, and I was by no means out of it, because I still had to earn an income. I just got the license. I didn't have any money coming in still, but it was a big milestone. I'd managed to get what I needed to get going, essentially, and I really went into kind of fight mode. I had nothing else to do but it was almost desperation and necessity. I had to do whatever I could just to bring a little bit of money in to cover my bills and the mortgage and keep a roof over mine and my family's head. And I went through a while where I actually had to take out a personal loan to pay my bills, because I had no money left in the accounts, and I'm still paying that back now. But that's how desperate it got. It was pretty bad. So I started the business with zero. My mum, bless her, bought me my laptop, and that was it. That's all I had. I was living off a personal loan to pay for my family and the mortgage and the bills, and I had a £700 laptop. That was it. And I started doing stuff on social media. So I wasn't doing lives like this, but I was putting some video content out. I'd seen some people in other industries doing it and a couple of other mortgage advisors doing it, and I thought that's how I want to build my business, is educating people about how they can get on the housing ladder. And if they don't use me to implement that, that's fine. I can just give them the information they need to go away and do their own mortgage or buy their own house. But a few of the people are going to want it to be implemented for them, and they're going to use me. So that's what I did. I started doing more and more stuff on social media, and a few inquiries started to come in, and some income started to come in, and I had a paycheck where I could pay my mortgage, and I wasn't using the loan anymore, and the bills, etc. And it slowly started to turn. And I think how I felt almost this time last year, the unknown, the not knowing what was going to happen, the not knowing how I was going to pay my bills, the dark days, is what drives me on every single day. Without blowing my own trumpet, I believe I'm a hard worker. Hopefully my friends and family will vouch for that. But a lot of that driver is, I don't want to feel like I did back then. I don't want to not know where the next bill's being paid from. So that is what drives me on every single day to be successful and to help people, and motivates me to get out of bed every single day, is almost through a scarcity mind, scared that I'm going to fall back into that state again. And like any new business, the first 12 months is incredibly hard. Anyone that's started their own business in any industry will know the first 12 months is incredibly hard. And it was for me. I went days and days and days without the phone ringing or any emails. I did all the networking, what you normally do, and some works. I'm not a massive fan of networking myself. I did try a group, BNI group, didn't really work for me. I left after a little while. So it was tough. It was quiet, and I didn't know whether it was going to work and whether I was going to be able to sustain paying the bills. But I kept going with it and kept persevering with it. And I've now really, a year on, and the business really has been built around social media and mainly Facebook, educating you guys, putting out information which I think you're going to find useful about mortgages, about the property market, about the different types of mortgages. And that's really what I pride myself on, is helping you guys and helping people get on the housing ladder. And we're a year on now, so on the Sunday was the 1 year anniversary. The business it's gone from strength to strength. I've built up a loyal client base. You guys watching, you guys referring your friends and family to me. I'm just so, honestly, at the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of those people that have supported me over the last 12 months. I can't tell you how thankful I am, and I bang on about it all the time, but I truly am thankful. And you guys have just helped me to build a successful business, and I'm now getting regular inquiries, and I'm just announced on Sunday that I'm going to be opening up my very own mortgage shop and office in the heart of Brackley to further enhance the services and the customer experience that I can offer to you guys. I already offer home visits, not at the moment during COVID, but when that's done, and before COVID I was. I offer Zoom calls, I offer FaceTime, telephone, you name it, we can do it. But not everyone wants you to be in their house or wants to see you on Zoom. So people being able to drop in the office their documents or come in and do a mortgage appointment face to face, is going to enhance that, and I think it's going to be the cherry on top of the service that we're already delivering. I've also got a new starting, which I'll reveal more about that soon. But on the 4th of August, I've got my first employee, a personal assistant that's going to help me further enhance and better the service that we're already offering, to free me up to give more time to you guys, which I'm really, really excited about. And yeah, the future is looking good. I'm not sat here thinking I've made it. Far from it. I'm not sat here going, look at me, I've got my nice shiny office. I'm very happy and I'm very proud of where I am and where we've come from, but there's a lot more hard work to do. There is lots more I can do to improve the customer journey. There is a lot more I can do to improve the overall services that I offer to you guys. I'm working on lots of projects and lots of things in the background to do that. But it's looking much more positive than it was this time last year. And An update on Winnie. She's now 19 months. About 6 weeks ago, she has to go in for regular sleep studies to the hospital, and they check her progress, her reliance on oxygen, medications, etc. They actually did it from home this time because we couldn't go into the hospital because of COVID. They sent all the kit out to home, which was pretty cool. Sam wired her all up, and they basically check all of her oxygen levels, heart, movements, sleep, everything. And we got given the good news that she no longer requires oxygen during the day or at night time. We still keep it in the house just in case she has any bad periods or in case anything changes. But that was great news. Business is obviously going very, very well, thanks to you guys and the support that you give me. On a personal level, over the last 90 days, I've lost 3 stone. So you may have seen me shrinking more and more every time you see me every week. So yeah, I've lost 3 stone. So I'm feeling good, both mentally and physically. I'm in an awesome place. And thanks again to my friends and family that have been around me to support me through that. But things are looking good. So the future is looking bright. My mission is to continue to educate people to help you make better choices when it comes to mortgages and buying your home or remortgaging your home. Help as many people as possible, both locally and further afield. The new office is going to be amazing. Hopefully we're going to open up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be really relaxed. It's not going to be a typical financial services office. We're going for a nice kind of almost a coffee shop style. I'm not going to be walking around in a suit. It's going to be relaxed. It'll be a bit smarter than my fitness gear I've got on. But yeah, it's going to be a bit more relaxed. I want people to feel at home, and like they can come and speak to their mates about mortgages. Not that it's an interrogation with a typical financial advisor. We're not typical financial advisors. We're just like you guys. We're normal people. I'm a normal person, and that's why I've done this evening's live a little bit different. It's because I want to show you guys that I'm normal. Hopefully you guys can relate to that, and that's just, again, I might live to regret it. I might lose a few followers. People might not like what I'm saying, or might take it the wrong way, possibly, but it's just something that I wanted to do. It's quite therapeutical actually as well. So yeah, the new office is going to be good. There's been talk of a beer fridge, which is going to be good. We've got a telly, which is going to be amazing, and yeah, I'm going to be sharing more and more stuff about the new office via my social media over the next few weeks. When I've got an open date, you guys will know. Please pop in, say hello. If you're my friend, then you're welcome to come in anytime. Even if you're not my friend and we've never spoken before, why not pop in, say hello? I can make you a cup of coffee. We can have a chat. That would be great. I think that's it really. That's all I really want to come on and say, is just to give you, like I say, a bit about me, what I'm about, and the journey I've been on to start the business, where we've been over the last 12 months, where we're looking to go in the next 12 months. I hope you guys can continue to support me. Again, just thank you so much for everything that you guys do. If you've liked the video today, great. Give me a little thumbs up. That would be great. If you haven't liked it, don't say anything. Just don't say anything. But yeah, a thumbs up would be great. Feel free to share it. Comment if you want to. I've had a few comments come through on here. What have we got? Let's see. Jamie Davies, my good friend Jamie, you've done so well, bro. Thank you, mate. Thank you for all your love and support. Steph Cork, I'm not going to comment on that. Stuart Broad, out of adversity comes opportunity. Yep, I'd like to think so, mate. Thank you. What else have we got? Jay, right, fair play, bud. Good evening, Jay. Good to hear from you, mate. Thank you very much. Hope you're well. Josh Lewis, well done, T-Dog. Thanks, Josh. You heckled me to start with on these live videos, but I'll let you off. It was all in good faith. Anna, I'm sure you'll smash it well done. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for all your support this year. Good. So April, super proud of you. Thank you, April. Thank you all for your love and support as well. So that's it, guys. I hope you've liked it. I hope you can relate to it. And I will be back waffling on about mortgages next week. You'll be pleased to know we're back to normality, talking about mortgages, talking about property. If there's any particular subject you want me to cover, let me know. Be happy to do that. And if you've got any questions or queries, as always, mortgage, property related, anything at all, feel free to get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And once again, thank you for watching. Feel free to like and share. I love you all, and I will see you next week.